Hello there, my name is Linda, also known as Tortagialla around the internet. I love journaling, all things stationery, and I wanted to do a quick video to follow up on my previous video going through the Habana Smooth notebook. I pulled out this Clairefontaine Age Bag Notebook to do a pen test and compare with the Habana Smooth notebooks side by side. I know that Clairefontaine paper is known to be good for fountain pens, and I've actually used the pocket version of this notebook before, so I assume the larger version is going to be just as good. But interestingly, I did notice that maybe um, these types of Clairefontaine books are only available in Europe because on Amazon.com I noticed that the Clairefontaine notebooks are like the My Essentials line, and they're usually like 192 pages. There's like a couple different options. Um, I don't know. They're labeled, the age bag. I don't really know what that means, but let me know if you know. It's a funny name. But they're like thicker notebooks, I think, to be comparable to like Moleskine, Leuchtturms kind of things. But these are actually staple bound, 96 pages, 90 GSM notebooks. They're almost like inserts for travelers' notebooks. So they're more like that Habana Smooth notebook. And so I wanted to do a little comparison. These Clairefontaine notebooks have totally blank pages, very bright white to my eye, and they're very smooth feeling type of paper. And the cover is like a thick cardstock with this sort of mottled, rough texture. And I'm just curious to see how this paper performs next to the Habana Smooth, which I thought was Clairefontaine paper, but I don't think it actually is. It doesn't actually say that. It doesn't have anywhere in the documentation the Quo Vadis Habana Smooth. It just says 80 GSM, Habana Smooth paper. So I must have just been imagining it myself and misunderstood. So I'm going to do my regular pen test, the same set of pens and inks, and I'm going to zoom in and show you, instead of trying to read out all the pens and ink names and butchering everything up, but basically just going from like a very giant stub nib to medium to extra fines, and also my go-to gel pens and ballpoint and brush pen. And while I'm writing, the paper is very smooth, it's easy to write on. I personally like the creamy ivory colored paper of the Habana Smooth, but this is like bright white. It's not bad. So I've tested all the inks, and it was only the ballpoint that took a minute to start up, because sometimes the flow it doesn't come out. So the only Achilles heel of ballpoint pens, right? And I also had to find my brush pen somewhere on my desk. But basically, I've got all of the same pen test here. And you can see there's no feathering. It looks nice. It's good to write with. Very comparable to the Habana Smooth notebook as well. However, interestingly enough, the first ink, the Diamond Purple Pizzazz Shimmering ink, it looks way better on the Habana paper to me. You can see like the color more. It just is a little bit different. Whereas on the Clairefontaine paper, it just looks like dark. That's it. Maybe I didn't shake it like to have the shimmer show up. I don't know. But there's definitely a difference. In a way, the ink shows up on the different papers. But I mean, both are fine for the writing experience, and, no feathering and things like that on the front side. If we turn to the back side, however, the Clairefontaine paper has zero bleed through. I mean, you can see it works very, very well. So even though I've like scribbled a huge patch of ink, nothing, not even the stub nib, nothing has bled through. So the Clairefontaine paper is definitely superior to this Habana Smooth, notebook paper, because that definitely has bleed through in the stub nib. It's slight, but like it does go through. So if you're using both sides of the paper, I guess I didn't test this, but like to see if it transfers back or something like that. But it's annoying. So the Clairefontaine paper definitely wins. And of course, it is 90 GSM, whereas the Habana Smooth is written to be 85 GSM. So there is a difference. So I guess that's what I expected, because I've used the pocket version of the Clairefontaine notebook before, and I know it's good with fountain pens. So even though this is a larger size, like a different format, it's just as nice. It's just as good quality paper. And I got these blank versions because I was thinking of using it for ink drawings. So that's why it's completely a blank page. So if you look at them side by side, it's it's that stub nib that sort of bleeds through. And of course I was trying to test like how long it takes the inks to dry, and it's always that Pilot ink that is the culprit. It's notoriously wet. So you just have to be careful to make sure it dries before you like turn the page, or you need like a blotter paper there. But basically, the Clairefontaine paper is great. And like I said, these particular notebooks that are staple bound and like only 96 pages, they're very affordable here in Europe anyways. They're like €4 for this, which, the Habana is, you get two of them for €4 and change. So the Habana is like half price for even a bigger size, but it would only work obviously with the finer nibs. You're not going to be using a stub nib or, drawing with like inks and stuff. So I suppose it depends on what you're going to use the notebooks for. The slight differences, you know, depends on what's important for you. And I guess right now that I'm looking at both of them and I've tried them literally side by side to like really take a good review of it all, I like both types of paper. I do like the Habana creaminess, color, and of course it's lined, so obviously for writing, but this Clairefontaine is really great for drawings and using, stub nibs, and I also have some like fude nibs. So, I think the paper is definitely superior with absolutely no bleed through. So I hope you enjoyed watching this quick video and seeing the comparison. I literally had to stop and like make this follow-up video because I was way too curious and I wanted to see it side by side. Do you have experience using these Clairefontaine notebooks or even the Habana Smooth? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And thanks for watching as always. Until next time, bye.